All right, welcome everyone to the Kured Dev Meeting. Today is Wednesday, the 26th of May. Jonathan, I haven't seen you in these meetings yet. I'm not sure if you quickly want to introduce yourself.
Sure. Yeah, I have never used Kured, so I am totally new to the product and the community. It just is serendipitous that I was researching it yesterday because of a project that needs node reboots, and I just was looking it up, and I was like, oh, there's a developer meeting tomorrow, so I thought I would just join and hear what's going on. And I looked through the notes, and yeah, my background, I'm a software engineer, sometimes fake it as a DevOps person. And yeah, I'm actually working contracting with Weave right now for a customer. And so yeah, they have an active need for this type of a thing. And so yeah, I here to find out what's going on and maybe ask a few questions and just hear what's going on with you guys. So
super.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so I just here's the link to the notes. There's not really much in there yet. I checked from last meeting. I mean, from last meeting, the big action item was basically getting the release out, which has happened. Thanks to everyone who contributed and get us over the finish line. What we still want to do is get a blog post out. I have like a bit of a draft up. The link is also in the agenda doc. Yeah, I think in general, it could be a bit more interesting and a bit more yeah, maybe a bit more details. Maybe I'll find some time on Friday to get it out, and then we could see if we put it. I mean, I have access to the Weave blog. I can certainly put it there, but we could also see if we want to get it on the CNCF blog or somewhere else, like, because they probably have a bit more reach than we do.
Yeah, I have some folks that I work with that regularly post on Kubernetes blog and CNCF blog. So
Super.
If we feel like we have something that deserves that audience, I'm happy to share that.
Super, just noted that down. Yeah, maybe I'll ping you all on Friday, and then we can see what we can do about the blog post. Yeah, Jack and I had a bit of a chat earlier where we talked about getting more contributors on board, and hopefully this could be a way, because I don't think we've blogged much about Qt in the past, so it might be a request for help signal as well. Cool. Yeah, was there anything you all were hoping to discuss today? Anything like, now that the release is out, anything you want to land sometime soon, or anything else you wanted to discuss?
If I may, hi guys. Last time I had no sound. Basically, I was hoping it's the next PRs are going to land a little bit faster than the previous ones. So that's the only thing I have in mind. Yeah, you've seen the work in progress PR that I wrote regarding minimizing and removing some stuff away from that huge function in the main .go. I think we are going to to keep doing that and making the functions a little bit more clean and more unit testable. So pretty much reiterating the things that we spoke last time.
Alexei, do you feel like you could sort of sudo PM that and just hand off areas of code? I'd be happy to just knock out. It'd be hard to do it without synchronizing. Like, you go ahead and decompose this area, you go ahead and decompose this area. I'd be happy to contribute if you don't want to do the whole thing yourself.
Sure. That's gonna be pretty cool, by the way. And JP is also pretty interested in that as well. He's not here, but I can tell you that. So yeah, that's very nice of you. We'll get in touch. I will add you on Slack. And
cool. Yeah, and certainly ping me if you want to review. I don't see your PR in the open queue. Is it a draft or just a branch?
I think, but it has the do not merge until 170.
Oh, that one. Okay, got it. Yep, I'll look at that today. I mean, that's great that you're doing that. I observed that this code base could use a little bit. I mean, it's not too complicated, so it's the kind of code base where we could get it to a kind of ideal state where everything is unit testable. I think it's an achievable goal and would benefit the project for sure.
Yeah, the next step that I have in mind is actually to the drain and the reboot functions to remove the notification part out of them, because they are not supposed to do that to start with. Because in the main Go, you can, if you're following in the main Go, in the function where everything happens, where was that? Kured main Go. That huge, I've almost forgetting what is its name? Reboot as required or something like that. Yeah, reboot as required. So on this function, actually the notification can happen inside this function just before drain and reboot, and we don't need to make the drain and reboot functions dirty.
Right. Understood.
And stuff, because then it's going to be easier to. And actually, I completely agree that this function is a hell of a function. Actually, is doing everything. To make it lighter, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but yeah.
Yeah, I think if I could get some time and try to add some more unit test coverage, that might help this process. Because then we can, as we break things, the unit test should tell us if we're breaking them in meaningful ways or just superficial ways. I mean, that's an ideal way to do it. If you're ripping everything apart, then it's probably not possible to rely on existing unit tests. You would have to rewrite the unit tests, but.
Hello, Jean-Philippe. We started without you. All right. Yeah, super. Thanks a lot for doing this. Is there anything more we need to discuss for this, or is the work pretty clear, like what needs to be broken up? I saw the PR, the 368. Is this sort of ready already and can be reviewed? And for the others, you are going to file issues, or how are you planning to do it?
For the others, I'm just going to jump straight to action, because I also have something something more in mind, already have the code ready pretty much for the next steps that I just described you, and then just jump in and maybe have better ideas, and yeah, we can refurbish a little bit together the
Yeah, I'm happy to just play a support role, and then maybe after Alexei, we get over this particular set of, if we feel like it would benefit from like a formal, writing, user stories or something, we could do that. But it might just be something we can do ad hoc, so to speak.
Sure.
I don't sense that we have a lot of, do we have a lot of user feature requests that we want to put into the one, let's call it the 1.8 release cycle at this time? Like, is anyone asking for Windows support or something sort of extremely interesting?
Up until now, what are they called again? The minor release, or no, minor releases were tied to Kubernetes releases. So every 3 months we would get one of those out, and if in the meantime we would, land a feature or a big change, we would just turn it into a point release. We would just get them out. So yeah, we had a lot of discussions about release cycle and maintaining multiple branches for multiple Kubernetes releases. Like, there's a lot we can do, but for now it was just easier to just have one main branch and release whenever we felt like it. But yeah, considering your question, I think since we turned on this GitHub feature that issues and PRs become stale and then they're sort of closed. I'm not sure if there's still stuff in there that was, let me see, looking at the issues. Yeah, there's a couple of requests. I think, yeah. I think since two big ones were the, having a bit more flexible reboot command, which is sort of in 1.7, and different notifications. But apart from that, I don't know. Oh, yeah, JP says.
Yeah, that's what the flexible reboot command that's definitely interesting. That's non-trivial, I would say. Also, maybe, I think Jean-Philippe and Alexei, you guys have thought about how to make the reboot less privileged, so to speak. That would also be an interesting effort. I don't think we can't be perfect there. If you're rebooting a VM, you necessarily have some root privileges, but I think the NSEnter interface is probably especially privileged, so we could probably improve that.
Well, I kind of found way to, I would say, make it less privileged, even for VMs. But it's, let's say it's very intrusive and it depends on your systemd behavior. So because of that, it makes, so what I was doing is I was using hostbid, so I was accessing to the PID of systemd, and then you kill systemd, and then you're sending a kill signal on systemd, and it behaves differently depending on the systemd versions. But most likely, if you send the right signal, you can manage to restart the node. So which is good because it doesn't need privilege. But that's under certain circumstances, because technically you should be privileged to do that, right?
Of course, yeah. I mean, if you're doing it successfully, you are privileged. So I think
exactly, basically.
Yeah, I think that would be an improvement. I know some folks who have their own rebooter implementations who are a little scared at the NSEnter So I think it would improve an initial impression for folks who look into how this stuff actually works if we were to have a less intrusive option. So I think that'd be good work.
Yeah, so the problem I see with that is that there is a trade-off between QD works by default. And
Right.
for example, if you install this on a Ubuntu-based node, you don't have anything to do. It just works. And
that's right. No, that's exactly right.
And when you move to something else, well, you start to have to configure stuff till a certain point. For example, the code right now can be, we can expose a flag that would say, well, don't run or not with NSEnter. That would be simple. But then we increase the complexity of the configuration, and we make it error prone, right? Because assuming someone doesn't want to use NSEnter, it will flip to no, and the node will never reboot if it's not configured the right way. So because I would say QD will not crash, and so it will not be obvious that the things will not be rebooting. So it's all about trade-offs, and I think it's good that the community also should highlight the fact that they want feature X or Y.
Yeah, cool. I agree entirely. The Kured is something that works across multiple distros of Linux, and I'm thinking of one dev in particular who is able to do a little bit less invasive reboot gestures because he knows exactly what OS he's on, so he can tune it to be the sort of precise trade-off outcome for his environment. But to do that generally is really, really hard. Easier to do it if you have a specific OS you're targeting.
So I'm sorry if I kind of missed the original goal of this. Were we trying to track what were the pending, I would say, big topics we had in issues that were recently closed, or was there something else? I'm a bit confused. Sorry if I arrived a bit late.
I was actually just asking if there are any interesting features that we were thinking of doing in the 1.8 release cycle. So I think this would qualify as one if we were to finish it.
Do you have something? I mean, when I'm saying you, it's all of you.
I'm interested in the maintenance thing, but I also am mostly interested in not making Kured do more than reboot, because I think that's one of the great things about Kured. But there are folks who are interested in general node maintenance because they like the way Kured does the reboot part of the node maintenance, and they want to do that more broadly. So I think naturally there's at least one issue in the queue of someone investigating that, and I scaffolded a possible solution. So I'm kind of interested in how to solve that problem for users, but I'm not convinced that it should go into Kured. So like, how to update an app package using the Kured sort of pattern where send a script to your node pool and have each node run that script n number of times, n number of nodes at a time, and then coordinate and drain the nodes and do a rolling sort of maintenance across your node pool.
Yeah, so it's proven that there are people looking for it, and it's proven that there were people trying it, and sadly, when Brian from Weaveworks tried to contact the people from the node Kubernetes node group, there was no like big response like, yes, we should do this, so please do. And so we don't really know outside the first research of what was and previous art, I would say, we don't have anything, right? And so I agree that for me, QD is nice the way it is, and I also see why there is a gap in the Kubernetes ecosystem. I just don't believe it's QD's place. I mean, I'm just the community member, right? I just don't believe in QD should be taking that duty. I believe that it could be another project that is starting on QD roots, and maybe that is starting with Weaveworks support. I don't know, but I mean, I'm not sure I will have the time, for example, to rewrite things. But I'm definitely interested to see where this is heading. Else, I would not have written some kind of long message on QD, a long issue saying, well, maybe this is something we could do, right?
Yeah, well, I'm going to paste. This is the prototype that I spiked, which involved copy pasta from Kured originally. So it was like 2 days of, managed to get 2 days of work. I don't want, and I've spent a little time putting feelers out with folks, like there's something that does this already, right? And I haven't gotten confirmation. So, but I definitely don't want to start a project in my own personal GitHub. I've got enough things to work on. So hopefully the right person will see that, and maybe something good will happen. And yeah, I think that there should be a tool that does this though.
Maybe there is like I would say a path forward between QD, custodian, and other projects, and maybe we should just group under one banner, and maybe we should promote all this kind of work and make sure that we are interconnected in some way. Maybe I'm dreaming here, but it could make sense, right?
Yeah, well, that I think circles back to the conversation Daniel and I and folks were having earlier about maybe donating this at some point to the appropriate SIG, so it could sit as a sort of peer tool or sibling tool. But that's a lot of work, and we would want to have a good sort of idea of why we would want to do that.
Daniel, was that talked in the past to donate QD into, I mean, like having proper action items from CNCF or from Kubernetes SIG to move QD into this?
So it was suggested by somebody in the past, or the idea came up a couple of times. We chatted about it briefly, and I reached out to Alexis, our CEO, and I don't think he was entirely against it, but he sort of said, like, this is, I mean, especially the point donating to the CNCF and bringing it into the sandbox, and then making sure that it rises up the ladder is quite a bit of work. And I've gone through the processes with Flux, and it is a lot of work. And I also feel, so for this, I think it would be good if we had a bit, if the development of QD was a bit more cohesive than right now. I said this to Jack already, so for him it's going to be a lot of repetition now. But we do these releases every 3 months, and sometimes in between. We meet monthly. Sometimes we do PR reviews in bursts, and sometimes we're all busy with other things. And for getting into the CNCF sandbox, I feel like the project would need to have a different pace and be a bit more active for the getting it into a SIG, or getting having some SIG own it. I don't know what the exact process for this is, and we would need to find out which.
I'll actually ask around some folks just to get some ideas, because I agree with you that one of the challenges here is that Kured is kind of mature and boring, and and I think a lot of people really rely on it to do something very important in their operations. And I would agree that the normal way that a project sort of matriculates through the SIG process is, developer growth, feature growth, a lot of problems that need to be solved and need a sort of cohesive governing structure. And so it's maybe not the most normal thing to donate an already sort of mature thing into the CNCF just for sort of clarity. Basically, we would be asking the CNCF just bless this tool for, to make it easier to discover for folks. Jonathan, I don't know, was it easy for you to discover this? Would it have been easier if it had been like a part of the Kubernetes SIG?
Probably. But I mean, it is having just, again, scanned what other options I have. Normally I rate an open source project by the number of stars it has in GitHub. So just as a sense of, and obviously looking at, how frequently there's releases and some of the documentation. And yeah, I just totally new here, but I would suggest that I think what you guys are going down is try to make the tool better at what it does, or broader at what it does, is better than trying to, like, the person that was asking for this wanted to use it for that exact purpose. Is, hey, maybe we can use this also to help manage patches that are outside of just what it does. And after looking at the, what I've learned so far, I think that's probably, while it would be useful to people, but maybe there's a different tool that could do that. The one thing that I was looking through specifically for my use case is this particular Kubernetes cluster needs to run on ARM64 node groups. So ARM architecture versus what you guys are publishing right now. And so, we at this project could easily create our own version of it. But then I did look through some of the older issues, and I did find a couple there from somebody who had tried it a long time ago, and looks like it does work. But so that, that also be an area that I could potentially, instead of us going off and building our own distribution of it
yes,
for internal uses, that would be a nice thing.
Please lean on us to do that. I think that
or I could even potentially help. I mean, that would be a nice thing.
Great.
That, then to pick whichever architecture, because we're seeing a lot more, a lot more people moving, and because it's a daemon set, it'd be nice to be able to run it on nodes that are running ARM. So yeah, anyway, that's a personal thing anyway, but I think in general the discussion should be, like, make the tool better at what it does, make the documentation easier, and make, that's what people need. They need, and I've done other projects before where they've just, not really solved this problem, and I didn't know about Kured. So yeah, that would be my 2 cents.
Do you mind if I ask you a side question?
Sure.
Do you have any experience in terms of ARM building on GitHub Actions or anything like that?
I don't, but I mean, what's the word? Serendipitous. I have to learn it now. If we were to, so my thought was kind of like, oh, if I have to go do it anyway for this one customer, why not just, do the exact same work, with the GitHub Actions and whatever, and then you make it an open source contribution, and then, then this customer could use the distribution, and then of course everybody would have to, benefit, because it's sort of silly for these guys just to maintain their own fork of it when it could just get broader support for people who need it. So yeah, I don't have any experience with it, but that's the case with many things.
We are welcoming all contributions.
All right. So yeah, I mean, I mean, from the 2 or 3 articles I read last night when I was looking at it, it didn't look very complicated. It would be more just making sure it works and testing it, and then, obviously getting your CI/CD going. Then maybe that could be a PR. So, but yeah, to the original question, I feel like that would be a better use of the time to try to make it, streamlined. Another just a side question. I know, I don't know if for people who are running on Amazon Linux and things. I know that it's supported for Ubuntu, but do you guys have any experience with running this on Amazon Linux? And if it's using the same, I know it's Yum is the package manager that Amazon Linux uses. I don't know if you guys have had any experience with this on Amazon Linux.
So I don't have,
Okay.
but if I recall properly, you had one command. I mean, on Zipper, on SUSE, you have one command that can tell you if a reboot is required. And with the latest 1.7, you can use that command. Maybe you need to wrap it in a shell script or whatever, but you can use that command as a Sentinel command that will tell you what you need to restart. And then you can update the restart command if you ever need to, but I think you shouldn't even, because it will just work.
Okay. Yeah, that was like I said, I just picked up the project yesterday, so I haven't.
Yeah, it'll totally work. It'll totally work.
Yeah, and that might just be something also in the documentation. I mean, just different systems that are supported, like common, obviously a lot of people use Amazon, so Amazon Linux 2 could just be maybe some documentation that I could contribute to in terms of, what I'm going to be doing with this project over the next few weeks or months. So, but yeah, those are my observations so far. But I think it would be nice if it eventually found its way into the Cloud Native Foundation, but I know that's a lot of work, as I've seen projects take a long time, especially popular projects, to get in. But yeah, normally I just follow whatever has got a lot of stars and seems to have active pull requests, and having these kinds of sessions and Slack support is, people want to be able to get help if they're trying to use something, versus I think the other one I was looking at was Atlassian Cyclops, and it's got like 10 stars, and I just was like, yeah, okay, this is, it needs to have somebody behind it in order for me to think it's probably worth recommending or trying to use it in anger.
So I'm not sure about other projects, but we are real people, and if we're not, it means that we are very, let's say, very human-looking robots. Just showing myself that I'm proving that I'm alive.
Yeah, all right. It wasn't some AI algorithm. That's good. Nice. Yeah, there. Those are my 2 cents. So yeah, maybe I will take a look at the ARM stuff a little bit more closely and the GitHub Actions, and see if it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to be able to publish both architectures every time you're pushing out a new build. And then I'm not sure what testing we would probably do, but based on what I'm seeing, it doesn't look like you're doing anything too crazy with Go that would stop it from being incompatible, unless you guys can have any experience with that. But I could definitely start to look at maybe doing a PR or something in that area.
Yeah, I think it's just housekeeping.
Yeah, just to be nice to have more architectures, given the wide adoption of that
for sure
across the world now, it seems. So,
and we can do that in phases. Maybe the first phase is to build the image and write the daemon set, the manifest for it, for example. And the next step is to ensure that it's always working by having this tested in CI or something. It's 2 different levels of involvement. But
yeah, just get it out there, because I think I said for people that are happy to use it, then like I said, instead of this being some private in some private repo at some company, it could just, for people who want to use it, it's out there. So.
Awesome. It sounds awesome.
Yeah.
May I ask, maybe I missed something, but what is it there special about the fact that you are going to orchestrate something through the Kubernetes? You could do just kubectl, get all the nodes and run everything in Ansible. And what's there's that special that you're going to do it through a daemon special if you want to install some patterns or packages?
Oh, that was just one of the requests that the manager asked me to look at, but I sort of just it was just he was thinking, oh, this thing can do all these different things, and then yeah, they're already using Ansible, so I said, yeah, if you guys want to do something, like use some of those features because you already have it. So, but the specific task I was given was just looking at the specifics of trying to reboot nodes when the dependencies are, when there's security, package upgrades that are driven from the package manager. So, and I think that's the niche that I think the tool seems to be used for in most cases. So I wouldn't go down the path of what that line of thinking was going down, because I don't think it's...
Alexei, are you talking about the installing an app package across a node pool? Why wouldn't you just
yeah. And I'm not trying to attack it. I'm trying to understand, because I'm having a hard time to understand what's the value of it.
I actually think you could ask the same question about Kured. To a sufficiently advanced Kubernetes developer, be like, oh, I reboot my nodes. It's just I just have like a 200-line bash script that does it for me. And so you don't need Kured to do what Kured does either.
Well, yeah, but the idea of coordinating, and
you could do all that with bash.
You can do it all, yeah. I mean, and you can do it, but then this automated way of coordinating stuff off,
for sure,
and then letting it, that seemed very appealing based on what I've read so far.
Yeah, no, Kured is much better. I'm not defending the bash script. I'm just saying, I don't think there's anything fundamentally different between Kured and installing a package manager. It's just coordinating and draining one node at a time, keeping track of the state of the overall transaction, rebooting, running a daemon set that reboots the nodes. Anybody could do that, but it's so nice that Kured exists, because A, it's easier and it's more reliable, because we have, you're running your daemon set configuration against a strongly version tested thing. It's very, very valuable to the world.
And you haven't seen my bash skills, right?
Anything can be achieved with that, yeah.
Yeah, it's scary. I think Daniel, I think the first PR I did to this project in bash, Daniel just replaced almost every single line. I mean, the content was still there, but the looks, oh my God, this was terrible.
I think that somewhere between the lines between, a software engineer and a DevOps engineer, and bash skills versus what coding skills are, and just having observed both of those, it's amazing what people can do with with bash.
So for me, bash was just a tool to get stuff done, and I because it's recorded, I use the word stuff. I realized that I'm not writing good bash. I just get it done. Nice. So it's good for CI though. Now we have a few bash scripts. If you want to ever look at it and improve them, you're welcome. Anyway, I'm sorry if I'm strayed away from the original comments and content.
I don't think you were. Yeah, notice we have somebody else who's new on the call, Alexandru. Did you have anything you wanted to talk about, or quickly introduce yourself, or are you just listening in?
Hello, my name is Alexandru. I'm just listening in, nothing to talk about. Yeah, I work for UpDirect as a DevOps engineer, ex-SUSE.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any questions or anything you wanted to bring up?
So far, no, just listening, trying to tune in, listen to you guys, try to get a feeling.
Super.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Jonathan, did we get to the end of your list of questions?
Oh, yeah, that was all. That was more than I thought. So just, tactically that helps. And then I think what I'm going to do is look at Flux's build process. I think somebody posted it, and then see if I can, yeah, maybe make a PR or something if I could test it, see if I can get it at least publishing, and then yeah, people can use it at their discretion. If they want.
If you're on, I don't know if you've joined Slack as well.
Yeah, the Weave community Slack. Yeah, I'm on there.
There's the Kured channel, and there you can also ping Hide. He's Flux and Kured maintainer. So if you have any questions, you can give him a ping as well.
Awesome. I will join the channel right now. There we go. Thanks.
Yeah. Anything else?
So I do have something to add, but I'm not sure it needs recording.
Okay. All right. Then we'll be off the record now. I feel like we'll have a good list of things we want to take a look at for the next release, and also the blog post. So thank you to everyone who was here at the meeting, and say goodbye to the people who are watching the recording now. Goodbye.